Answer. Because you are that, you are capable. You are gifted, and you are soon to be opinionated. It's okay to be different, and it's so okay to just be. The world awaits to receive you.
Blessings, and good evening, everyone. Happy evening and happy Sabbath. Welcome to Uncensored Enlightenment Talk, and you're here with your host, Grace Levi. Tonight, we're going to be talking about something very important, something that I think the Black community should pay attention to, especially in times like this. What we're going to be doing is re-highlighting some aspects of a few cases that took place over the last 6 to 7 years. We're going to put them on the screen. And I first want to send love and blessings to the family of all of these young individuals who passed untimely. We're going to be talking about Kanika Jenkins, Shanquilla Robinson, Kendrick Johnson, and Samaji. Okay, Shamaji. Let me pronounce her name correctly. And today we're going to talk about how the FBI or the government fails us. I'm going to focus on the FBI because in each case, the FBI seemed to do some type of investigation or did not. But in each case, these cases were very troublesome for the Black community. Keep fighting and they keep striving and they actually start organizations that help other people who have been faced with similar situations. I really think that us as the Black community, if we band behind them and really help them enhance their ideas and work as a team, that a lot more can happen in each one of our communities because it's called micro coalitions. So I do want to show this. This is really what's alarming, and we're going to leave that right there before we go on to our next case. But investigation confirmed Brandon Bell off campus. That's his alibi. This was one of the twins that allegedly had roid rage. Within this article, I didn't mention throughout this time, but allegedly that this gentleman has steroid-induced rage, and it was showing a lot in his behavior based on allegations that was brought out around this case. So they said that the sheriff's report included interviews with the Lotus High School wrestling coach, the bus driver, and several teammates, all of whom insisted that they left Valdosta around lunchtime. And even if they did left around lunchtime, that does not constitute what really happened to Kendrick. So we're going to get into that some more. But again, there's several factors in this that I believe that the FBI actually blotched these cases. And then they were done intentionally, neglectfully, and because us as Black people don't have any status. And I really think that people, it hurts to hear that, but it is the truth. If you understand status, you'll understand why they treat us the way we do. You have to have a status to represent yourself in the country. And they're taking total advantage of the Black community. So now we're going to get to the baby that was stuffed in the couch, according to the neighbors. An unbelievable, sad update after another this morning breakthrough. So this case was actually about the baby who we talked about, Miss Samaji Crosby. And I'm still learning more about Miss Shamaji's Cosby case. But in any aspects or anything, I can say I think the FBI should have taken over this case and really investigated properly as though they do other cases, but they choose not to. Because, like I said, it's justice or just, hold on, stub it. Okay, well, I wanted to make it big, but obviously not.
I'm Fox 32's Anita Padilla. New details coming in this morning in relation to the search and tragic ending to the life of a beautiful baby girl named Semaj Crosby. Neighbors are telling us now that they understand that when police went into the family's home yesterday evening, right now, I'm sorry, you are actually looking at police taking a couch that it looks like a piece of furniture that they're taking and putting into a van. The reason they're taking that couch, we just learned, is that neighbors said say that when Semaj Crosby was discovered, she was discovered in the couch, stuffed in the couch, not under the couch, but stuffed in the couch. It is a new detail that's coming into our newsroom. A source is telling me as well that the mother is in police custody and she has been told to remain silent. That is coming to me from one of my sources. We're trying to get some confirmation on that as well. Other information that we want to tell you about this morning is that the Will County Sheriff's Department will be holding a press conference to give us more information about this case, and an autopsy will determine exactly how little Semaj Crosby did die. One of the neighbors said that he's very disgusted by this whole situation. He said police went into his home and searched his home, and he was fine with that. He can't understand why they didn't search the family's home.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Because it was so filthy, they probably didn't want to go inside
Earlier than they did.
Someone is scared. It may have possibly been an accident. We all watch shows, TV all day. Mothers accidentally something happened and they go try to bury the child because they didn't want to go to jail. They didn't have a witness to say that they didn't kill their own child. No one was there to say anything, so they try to cover it up, which actually makes it worse. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we had all of this going on. Like I just said again, helicopters and everything, but she's sitting right there on the very couch that they are in there sitting on, talking to officers. I don't even want to talk about it no more.
That's demonic. That's literally demonic. And we can talk about that from another aspect of mental illness in our Black community, sweeping things under the rug, making dysfunctional behaviors functionable. But this broadcast is focused on why the feds didn't do what they were supposed to do. So obviously they investigated and did a half investigation where they were looking to the neighbor's home, but they did not look into the particulars of Shamaji's home. So let's get into this article where they talk about a little bit inside of the home. And again, they're still seeking justice for this. Dad, we will give you the outcome. Dad did receive some monetary gains, but at the end of the day, this was a systematic thing too. So inside the house of horror, where a missing 16-year-old girl was found unalive 30 hours after she vanished following a visit from family services. So after 30 hours of searching involving 100 cops, bloodhounds, how do you have bloodhounds that literally don't take you right back to the house? Bloodhounds and drivers. Crosby body was found inside what believes to be her own home. Child Protective Services visited her home 3 hours before she disappeared. New photos reveal the dangers and dirty living conditions the little girl was living in before her unalive. Cans of bug killer were left out in easy reach. Trash bags were strewn all over the floor, and beds were buried with mattresses propped up on the floor. Let's get to the video. Let's see. Anybody talking about no Trump, man? Let me see if it's gonna play or you got another video for you guys. If not, we're just gonna move forward. That's Trump. All right, so this is a picture of Miss Semaj Crosby. She is so beautiful. She's a beautiful little girl. And this was the conditions of the home. Let's see. This is ridiculous. So Child Protective Services was aware of this. And again, a systematic issue. Okay, so this was her mama. She is such a beautiful little girl. And there's some other elements of this case that I want you guys to pay attention to. That really makes me say that the FBI should have been investigating, because again, just like in the other situation with Kanika Jenkins, we had traptivists, fake activists out there causing mayhem. And again, something tragic happened around this particular situation, and the cops did not investigate. Let's see what this is.
It's not known yet where the body of the 16-month-old was found inside the home, which is now surrounded by crime tape. There are also no details on how the girl died. The Will County coroner says an autopsy will take place later today. Now, the tragic development comes after more than a day of extensive searches throughout this community involving hundreds of officers and volunteers. Samaje was reported missing late Tuesday, disappearing while playing outside her house with other kids. This morning, one of the volunteers who took part in the search says things seemed suspicious yesterday when he saw the girl's mother. Now, that mother, Sherry Gordon, spoke with WGN yesterday morning, pleading with the girl for the girl's safe return. DCFS has since revealed that Gordon has been investigated for an allegation of neglect. A caseworker had been at the home Tuesday to check on Gordon's three kids, but found no safety concerns at the time. Samaje was reported missing just several hours after that visit.
All right, so this is the next thing that I want to bring up, that I believe that this case is also FBI worthy of looking into, because shortly after the body was found, I believe a cover up took place. And this is where arson, most likely, as fire levels home where Samaja body was found. Um, that is just so trifling. And this is exactly why I believe the FBI should have did a more thorough investigation on this particular case. Let's just read this real quick. The Gillette Township house where the 16-year-old Semaj Crosby was found dead last month burned down Saturday morning, and arson is most likely the cause of the fire, officials said. So we already know possible arson. The fire comes just days after authorities announced that they are conducting a criminal investigation into the toddler's death. The Will County Sheriff Office said it had released control of the house late last week, but the statement issued Saturday morning did not specifically address how the destruction of the house might affect the ongoing probe. Authorities were called for the property on reports of fire around 6 a.m. at the home in a 300-block radius of Louis Road. According to the statement from the Will County Sheriff, crews from the East Gillette and New Lenox Fire Department arrived to find the house fully engulfed in flames. Due to the extent of the blaze, like this was arson, just like what took place in Dolton most recently with that building. The East Gillette Fire Department advised they would allow the house to burn out while maintaining control. They couldn't even throw it out. JB Rentals LLC, based in Calhoun, owns the property. The company could not be reached for further information. So again, this was something that I believe was way out of the scope of local authorities to be able to handle when it came to Shamaja case, especially when arson is involved, as well as they literally was investigating their self, and Shamaja was inside of the couch, and they did not note that. They did not even have enough common sense to make everybody get out of it. I don't know, really look into the house, what was going on. So this is where the case led to, where they put the blame on defects. I think it was two avenues that the FBI was supposed to go down with this case. It was either one, investigate who actually murdered her and the arson, as well as the tremendous default in our defects in our DIFA system, because there's a lot of kids that go missing. There's a lot of things that go pushed under the table that we'll talk about in later broadcasts. But again, this what led to now they're putting the blame on defects, not the family only. Even though defects sort of disgusted with it they were living. You know what I'm saying? So less than 2 months before 17-year-old Shamaja Crosby was found unalive in her couch. She was stuffed in her couch in Gillette Township home. The Illinois Department of Children and Family Services was investigating alleged sexual abuse of a three-year-old girl, Samaja's cousin, who also lived in the home. Samaja, parietal grandmother, aunt, and her two children lived in the same house. So it was the grandmother, the aunt, and other two children also lived in the home. Records show that Samaja aunt's boyfriend, a man on parole for domestic violence, was living there too. He lived there for a year but left the home after the 3-year-old mothers found bruises and vaginal swelling. DCFS named him an alleged predator. DCFS interviewed the physician who noted that there was no signs of penetration through the child had grab marks on her legs as well as other bruises, well, and abrasions. Okay. That was of the 3-year-old, not Shamaja, but it was something terrible going on in that house. So the investigation was one of the 11 initiated by the DCFS in the family in the last 12 months. Shamaja's death, according to the newly released report from the agency, DCFS also led bare in its own shortcoming, listing 9 ways the agency sought to improve after handling the case. So we know that she was found on April 26th, the day before the DCFS had been to the home investigating the child neglect allegation, but saw no obvious hazards or safety concern for Samaja or the siblings. State officials said Samaja, her 3 siblings, and mother all slept in the same bedroom. At 2.5 hours after the visit from the CFS, the toddler disappeared, prompting a massive search of the subdivision near Gillette. The top police official said that the house was in very deplorable conditions, adding that the lawyer for the girl's mother made them get a search warrant before they entered it and found the girl. So okay, so that's why it took a little while for them to find her and go into the home. But usually, I don't know if it's a missing person. If they walked into a place like that and it was a missing person, I think the judge should just automatically let them look through. I would have been looking through anyway. You look through where the person live at first. You're like, okay, it's a baby that's missing here. Let's look around the house. But for them to say no, it really showed a difference. The new report shows that 23 different allegations of child endangerments were made in those 11 investigations. In some investigations, allegations were made against more than one person. Gordon was a subject of 11 allegations, while Shamaja's father, James Crosby, was the subject of two. 3 allegations was brought against Shamaja's aunt, and 5 more against her brother, and 2 others against the maternal grandmother. Jesus. All right. We're going to get to this because I think it's going to take me to the left because we have a whole nother story to talk about the dynamics in the black household and the cover up thereof of dysfunction and abuse. But I want to focus on that the FBI had a lot to work with on the Samaja case, honestly, and they really, really dropped the ball as far as investigating who unalived her, who set arson, and I know it was updates done to DCFS considering the death of her. But again, I still think there should be ongoing investigations into defects across the United States because there's a lot of bad stories that come up about how they treat kids, how kids are missing, and yeah, and it's just left like that. This is now Semaj Crosby tragedy 8 years later, where county sheriff and investigation take new turn. So again, we know that this is still open. The sad part is that the FBI still didn't find it in the best interest of the state and Shamaja, the citizens, to investigate this. This is so many angles that really takes it out of the jurisdiction of just the sheriff department. Defects, being live out, seeing what was going on. Did they make deals with people? Did this person get paid? Obviously, you saw the house was deplorable. You said it was okay. They had 11 investigations. What was going on with that connection? Then you have the arson that went on shortly after the body was found. Then before that, they wouldn't even let the sheriff in to look into the house. And then you have actors that were activists, tractivists that were out there causing mayhem and changing the narrative, speaking on behalf of people, causing the investigation to literally be thrown up in hands. And again, I'm gonna have to throw this out here because the FBI felt like they should not investigate this, but this man is known right here to be connected to at least the DOJ. So the FBI will investigate stuff, but the DOJ is the one too that picks up cases and prosecute, as we saw in the Kanika Jenkins case and on the Kendrick Johnson case, where both entities were involved. And we showed you how these activists are connected. You have Andrew Holmes that was in the Kanika Jenkins case that has known in public ties to FBI, giving him awards. And then you have the other character, Jedediah Brown, who's involved intertwined in causing destructions in these cases that allege that he's sent by the DOJ. And just the other day, he calls for the DOJ to investigate some stuff after being outed by the community that he is not an investigator. So we really have to pay attention to what's going on in our society because there's something seriously bad going on. Not only is the system not protecting us, but they also sending actors in there to dismantle investigations that they're not even investigating. They want to send us on a rat race. So we're going to have to learn a lot about law and also representation as well, because obviously you can see with the Kendrick Johnson case, his lawyers wasn't even smart enough to, one, sue the right amount of people so mom didn't have to pull back on the case. And when she pulled back on the case, I wasn't sure, was she aware that she would have possibly had to pay the other party's lawyers legal fees, knowing that she lost her son. So to kind of round off with Semaj case, where we're at is Semaj Crosby tragedy 8 years later. Will County Sheriff investigation take turn. Woo! So Gillette, Illinois, the Will County Sheriff Office Criminal Investigation Unit is taking a new approach in regards to bringing justice for little Semaj Crosby, the 16-month-old toddler found dead underneath her family couch on Louise Road in Gillette. It says Lieutenant Nate Freeman, who now oversees the Criminal Investigation Unit, told Gillette Patch during an interview on Thursday that his agency is now undertaking a full case review of Semaj's death. Her death, ruled a homicide in 2017, remains unsolved. We are doing a full review of the evidence, people surrounding the case, and anything else, Freeman told Patch. So they definitely need to talk to Jedediah Brown about his findings, what was going on. Because anytime that man is involved in something bad happened. And it's so crazy. He was causing mayhem and issues, and then that house got blown up. I'm just saying. Since it happened, we've attempted to talk to only 4 people that we believe last saw her alive, but they have either invoked their rights to an attorney or they declined to speak. Despite the roadblocks the Will County Sheriff investigations have encountered, Freeman assured Patch that his agency plans to spend a significant amount of time this year re-investigating Semaj's death. It's a case that means a lot to the agency, Freeman remarks. I bet you it do, because they never saw nothing like that. The pushback from a family to find a daughter not work with the investigation and then the house blow up. I bet you they never saw nothing like that. I'm telling you, Chicago, Illinois, y'all be having some going down out there. Y'all be setting a record for making like TV stuff come to life. So during Thursday interview, Will County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Dan Jungle said that other than Sarah Avant, this was the biggest case we wanted to solve because children are involved. One of those people, known as Semaj, did not end up under the couch by herself. We know that. Semaj's case is now in the hands of Will County Detective Sergeant Mike Ernest, who has spearheaded numerous high-profile cold cases investigation at the sheriff's office in recent years. So again, they're going to keep on investigating this. I don't know if I did let you guys know that there was a monetary funds that was released to Semaj's father related to the lawsuit, which was $6.4 million. Let's put this. Oops, sorry. Let's put this on the screen. I want to say thank you for being here with us today. Hit the like button. I know notifications have not been going out, but don't worry, guys. We're working on some stuff. We will get our notifications out. We always have a plan. So, family of murdered Gillette child, Tyler Semaj Crosby received $6.4 million. So here, the settlement of more than $6.4 million has been reached between the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services and the family of Semaj Crosby, the 17-year-old who were found dead during the couch under a couch in July. I wonder who got the money again, because it better not have been none of them people who was in the house with her. I swear. They felt a lot of ways. This was against DFACS. Okay, so in the statement, DFACS improved in this child welfare are never quick and easy. Many of the challenges we face are long-standing and enriched, but everyone in the administration is deeply committed to overcoming them and providing the care that our vulnerable children and family truly need. So they took responsibility for this, but I'm trying to see who actually got the money. What we'll do is when we follow up, because we want to follow up on each case, because some of these cases are still open right now, and they may not be open to the feds or to the county, but they're open to mom. They're open to the family, where they're still seeking justice, and then they turn their pain into power. Where you even see Kendrick Johnson, mother has an organization. And also, I'm not sure if Kanika mother followed up with organization, but I definitely know she always posts about her daughter, as well as the Gillette sheriff. They're very deeply bothered by this because it was disgusting what happened to this beautiful young girl. But again, in each of these cases, our government officials dropped the ball, and I'm talking about on the federal level. And as you see, I bring up a lot of points where the feds had a lot of reasons to investigate that brought it into their jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? These are some of the things that they supposed to investigate: violent crimes, child crimes. Okay, crimes is just straight crazy. International violent crimes as well. It says international violent crimes. The FBI has the authority to investigate specific violent crimes committed against America and American interests overseas. In some instances, crimes committed by Americans overseas. Y'all want to put this on there real quick? This is why I say justice or just us. And we have to know how to circumvent this. We can't keep just talking about it. I have to tell you, we got to put pen to paper. And as I mentioned, a lot of time it may go over people's head, but there's a thing called the United States and the United Nations. Okay, and I'm not talking about the one that's trying to do the New World Order and all of this crazy stuff, but the United Nations, these same United Nations that y'all talk about with that, they actually people like us that are going through things like what Black Americans, we're considered Black Americans going through, which is a form of social, economic, and physical genocide. We can go to the United Nations and petition for representation so we can be treated better. And it's so crazy. Like, what? Why would you? How is that going to happen? The same way United States go into other countries under the guise and say that they don't have democracy and they have genocide against their people. All of that's how United States get into people countries. This is what needs to happen here because we're suffering genocide here. Even like I said, when we don't have nothing to do with it, they make us the object of their afflictions to even get their policies passed, and that be fueled with hate. DEI had nothing to do with just Black people. It's literally diversity, inclusion, and people who are um di- have disabilities. Disability don't mean physical disability. Like they're just disabled to get in disabling situations to get what they need. I.e., I was a DEI. I was a single mother in Newark. If I didn't get the extra funding for me to go to college as a single mother, which was made directly for Black single mothers, or not single parents, it wasn't single mother parents to receive extra funding under these grants, I wouldn't be there. So DEI is not about having a physical disability or being not smart, but they use these talking points that may not even have nothing to do with us. I'm just throwing that out there. This is how much hate that's out there for us in America. Now, when we bring this up, it's not to be victims. It's because you're a victim. It's so sad that you could get abused, you could get hit, you can get stabbed, you can get hurt, and then somebody like, you're being a fucking victim. I never knew being hurt or being pursued in a negative way or harm, it makes you the bad guy. But this is what's happening nowadays. So the more we cry out, the more black fatigue happens. This is where black fatigue comes from. The more we cry out and say the injustice, the more black fatigue. And that's why I said we need to stop crying out to them and start going above their head. And also, as y'all know, I'm a separatist. I don't mind us separating because I know we are part of a big chunk of their economy. So once we separate that and understand our power and use our power, which the power in their system is lean green, we will definitely make leeway with getting more representation and having things like this stop happening. It's not just happening to Black America, it's happening all over. So I'm just gonna read this real quick to like put icing on the cake that the FBI is supposed to deal with international crimes. This is one dealing with the Shanquella Robinson case, violent crimes, the ones or what definitely crimes that deals with like um organ harvesting possibly, and you know that company in Kanika Jenkins case possibly having connections to the Rosemont Hotel and the Rosemont Funeral Home and those people being on the Rosemont board. It totally should be over the jurisdiction head to investigate because it's going to be so many biases there. Even with the Rosemont case with Kanika, they chose not to go into that case as well. So here, at least with the Samaji case, that you have the sheriff that still have affliction for this case that wants to allegedly go after, especially because it was so big. But what I would say is that they're failing us. They're failing us. You have to realize our tax dollars, it pays for this, but what can we do to make our tax dollars go the right way? What could we do? And that is literally put the pen to paper, start taking all these people to court, filing class action lawsuits, and taking it in front of the Hague Convention, which is in front of the United Nations, and start putting the case together. I'm just saying. I'm gonna close off with that. I know that went over people's head, but I pray that it didn't. They have a Black Lawyers Organization that's spearheaded and focused on Black litigation for Black Americans. And I think that Black Americans needs to focus on that, as well as myself being a Hebrew. They have Hebrew organizations where they have a Hebrew legal counsel, where I think that my people need to focus in on that as well. And we need to branch together and understand what's our actual position in America. We don't have a standing in America. Black is not a nationality. These cases that I'm showing you should be showing you that they are treating us completely different. I don't you really gotta let go of this Stockholm syndrome. And once you realize that they're treating us completely different, applying the law completely different, that's when you know you have to circumvent that by learning the law, learning how it's applied, and finding ways to go over these people's head. So with that goes to say we was on for 2.5 hours. I'm going to be breaking this up. I want to say thank you for the people who was popping in, popping out. Shout out to all the haters that keep their eyes on me for some apparent reason because of this demon. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, these fake traptivists and these people who are detrimental to our community will go down. This is one of the reasons why I felt it was important to talk about these cases, because that gentleman played a role in these cases, and anything that he played a role in was either smudged or messed up severely. So again, I want to say I love you guys. I want to say thank you for being here with Grace Levi. Please hit the like button, and I'll see you guys on my next live. Until then, you already know what we're doing. You already know what we're doing.
Guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany A. Hilliard, the People's Mayor. So, you guys doing a lot of snitching.
Don't let my snitching fool you. I love a good jam.
I could not be here breathing and be comfortable if I was really as bad as they was making it. You know, nobody could be around me. So for me to be this calm, I must have some kind of inner peace. And my inner peace is knowing that once everybody take the time to really see what type of person I am, you'd be surprised that I stuck around this long. I have to make the life that I do live as happy as I can and try to do the best with what I have. You know, live the best life I can live, be as happy as I can be. Nothing is perfect for anybody. I don't.
Boys, I swear, I think I figured it out. You know why they don't want us redneck brothers and sisters and the hood brothers and sisters getting along? You know why? Because we'd be unstoppable. I'm telling you right now, we would shut shit down.
Public comment is she'll just put her head down and she won't listen to anything. She won't acknowledge anything. You know, I've seen mothers of murdered children and people who've lost family members in Dalton. She'll put her head down and she will not even acknowledge that the person is there.
I'm Cara Wilson. I'm the mother of Alexis Wilson, killed by Dalton, Illinois police. At the time that my daughter was killed, Tiffany stood in front of a microphone much like this and said that she stood with the cops and they did do the right thing by killing my 19-year-old child. Not only did she not take those words back, she didn't offer her condolences. She's never said anything. The first thing she did was hire this group of security guards to surround her and PR. So the real reason Tiffany has security is hiding from accountability about what she said about Alexis Wilson when she was killed. Now, if you watch the coverage of this murder, these officers violated her rights, reached in her car, jumped in her car, and put 7 bullets in my child. 2 in her head and 5 down her side. And the next day, you guys tried to spin it like she did something. Watch the video, she did nothing.